Practice ahead of the Belgian Grand Prix will begin with heartbreak for the home crowd, as Stoffel van Dorn had his super license removed after causing a dangerous incident between himself and Romain Grosjean. His placement was to be BMW young driver Lance Stroll, who becomes the first Canadian to race in Formula 1 since Jacques Villeneuve in 2006 for BMW Sauber. Force India managed to scrap together some downforce upgrades, which now sees their apex corner speeds match those of the other midfield teams. It was no surprise that Williams were the dominant car around this track through practice. However, a crash for Josh Chiro in free practice 1 didn't help matters. Taking a look at the qualifying grid for the Belgian Grand Prix, and it'd be a Williams front row lockout, much like they scored here in 2014, with Josh Chiro ahead of Sebastian Buemi. Valtteri Bottas lines up in third for Mercedes and was over half a second behind both of the Williams, with Jean-Eric Vergne, the lead Red Bull, in fourth. Fernando Alonso lines up in fifth in Mercedes, Sergio Perez with a very impressive lap to line up in P6. Daniel Kvyat starts down in seventh, with the second of the Force Indias of Esteban Ocon lining up in 8th. Sebastian Vettel will start as the leader of the Ferraris all the way down in 9th, and Romain Grosjean rounds off the top 10 for Haas. Haryanto will once again start outside the top 10 from 11th, with Lewis Hamilton all the way down in P12, just ahead of the Renault's Nico Hülkenberg. Will Stevens lines up in 14th in the second of the McLarens, and then come both the Toro Rossos of Carlos Sainz and Max Verstappen. Daniel Ricciardo lines up in 17th in the second of the Renaults, with Pascal Wehrlein in 18th for Manor. Alex Rossi with a disappointing lap could only manage 19th on the grid, with Lance Stroll in 20th on his qualifying debut. And once again, the two Saubers of Adrian Sutil and Marcus Ericsson will round off the grid. Hey guys, Tara here. Welcome back to UniONE, this time round 12 for season 3, the Belgian Grand Prix. If you did miss the last race, go and check that out before this one. Some very crucial race that I saw with Stoffel van Dorn having his super license removed after causing the incident between himself and Romain Grosjean. First fair point there from the stewards, I think, after causing just ploughing right into the back of Grosjean, so let's see what Lance Stroll can do in his debut and see what Rio Haryanto can do, lining up just outside the top 10 so last race, dragging that underpowered McLaren up to second, just behind the win. See what we have to do is pull out something special once again here. Now what can Lance Stroll do on his debut? Of course, starting just ahead of the two Saubers, and is half a second ahead of both the Saubers, so he's got no pressure from the drivers behind, just behind his teammate as well. Hopefully the young Canadian can have a good race for his debut. As for us, lining up in P1 with our teammate BUEMI in second, so pretty much role reversal to how it was last season, with me and Jordan in the Lotuses lining up 13th and 14th. So this time we get the jump on our teammate. Once again we're lining up side by side. And I don't know what the Williams crew have done to our car. We've seen with our crash in practice 1, missed a lot of running there, but it doesn't seem to make any difference. Now coming to the 5 red lights for the start of the Belgian Grand Prix. Lights out and away we go. We get a really good start there. Sebastian Buemi looks to have bogged down on the start because we're way ahead of him now coming into turn 1, not challenged by our teammate Sebastian Buemi. Now coming around turn 1, we run out wide though. And out very wide. If we get a bit on the curb, and that's going to really compromise our exit now because Sebastian Buemi getting right up behind us now. Especially now Buemi's going to pull to our inside now and going to go too wide, side by side, coming up our ridge. He's a wheel to wheel contact. Buemi's going to try and hold it right around the outside. He goes off the track. We go off the track down the old. Going down the endurance pit lane there to give Buemi room to get back on the track. Now one of the Mercedes just powers past the outside of both of us now. One of the Mercedes got into the lead now because side by side Ickers and the other Mercedes going down the end of the camera straight. They're going to go 3 wide now down the end of the camera straight. 2 Mercedes and Sebastian Buemi. Buemi's going to try holding out up the inside. Fernando's going to try right around the outside of Bottas and Buemi. And now Alonso moves up into the lead of the Grand Prix, and we've been swung now down to 5th. Pascal Wehrlein's out of the Grand Prix, but now we've dropped down to 5th from the start of the Grand Prix. Now we're behind Sergio Perez in the Force India. So a great start there from Sergio Perez. We're going to try and hold it right around the outside now. Just can't find the way around the outside now. Coming around the corner with no name. We'll have to stay behind Sergio Perez through this section because around this section of track there's pretty much nowhere you can make an overtake on anyone. Crucially though, we are ahead of the 2 Red Bulls. Now looking at a replay of what caused Pascal Wehrlein to retire from the race, we've got here the mighty scrap of a car. So we've got Alex Rossi, Pascal Wehrlein, one of the McLarens involved now. We're all going 3 wide now. One of the Toro Rossos getting involved now as well. Now going to go 3 wide now, coming down to the end of the camera straight. And oh my god, a huge contact there. Man is into the wall. One of the Saubers are involved as well. I guess that's Pascal Wehrlein now out of the Grand Prix because slammed into the wall. Then Tokyo replay, what happened here to Pascal Wehrlein? He's stuck up behind, right behind one of the McLarens, and his teammate just come and swipes him out of the Grand Prix. And one of the Saubers getting involved there as well. Now taking a look at a replay of it now from Lawrence Stroll's perspective, so this is what happened with Stroll. That's why he just came across to the side of Pascal Wehrlein. He's getting the solution now on the back of his teammate. Now he's punting inside, now he's getting a great stitching there off the back of the Haas. Now he's going up behind with the Toro Rosso. There's a bit of contact there, and it gets completely turned into from behind by what looks like the Sauber, and smashes his teammate Pascal Wehrlein out of the Grand Prix. Now taking a look at it now from Marcus Ericsson's perspective, he's gaining here right up behind the manner of Lawrence Stroll, is sticking right in his slipstream now. He's going to Pascal Wehrlein. There's a big contact there with the back of Lawrence Stroll's car. Then he goes for a gap at the inside. Now they'll just kind of meet in the middle and just get slammed into the wall then. Now that Sauber's lost his front wing, so I'm taking a slow-mo replay of it. So you see here, Lawrence Stroll gets stuck on the back of the Toro Rosso, turns out of it, and then gets tagged from behind by the Sauber, and then is just a complete passenger as he gets shoved into the wall along with Pascal Wehrlein. And the Sauber, yeah, it's still got a bit of a front wing, but it's pretty much just a plank at this point, so they definitely have to pit now. Cutting a bit further on, he's going to drive right around the outside of Sergio Perez, who brakes very early, coming into this bus stop chicane for some reason. So now we're right up behind Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes. I'm going to definitely need to clear Bottas as soon as possible if we want to try and chase down Sebastian Buemi and Fernando Alonso to get back in the lead of the Grand Prix. So Alonso there with a great start in the Mercedes. You know, the Mercedes is down in straight line speed compared to the Williams. Well, anything's down in straight line speed compared to this Williams. The Mercedes probably having to run their engines on some very high settings to keep with us, and we know the Mercedes haven't got the best reliability this season, but they did bring some reliability upgrades at the previous race, so it looks like those upgrades are making a difference. Now Sebastian Buemi getting right in the station now. On the back, Fernando Alonso is going to pull to the inside of the two-time world champion. They can drive right around the outside, coming down the camera straight, just easily breezes past the Mercedes. Alonso's trying to hold it now back up the inside. Buemi's going to try and hold it now, run right outside, which then turn the inside, just keeps his nose in there up the inside. Then they're going side by side now. Alonso's just going to have it on the racing line, so just gets it on the racing line there. Now coming up through the corners with no name. Now right up past Sebastian Buemi. We gained a lot of time there in qualifying around these two corners for some reason. There's something about these two corners that we can really find. So there's some good timing there around the corner with no name. We don't get the best of exits there. Now that's going to allow Sebastian Buemi to pull away from the slightly now, because once again, this Williams this season has been built to work at the front of the grid. It's not been built to follow it in dirty air, much like the Williams of last season, which is why we're able to keep with the Mercedes and Ferraris through the S sections on various tracks last season. But this Williams, they knew we were going to be at the front because Williams worked loads over the winter on improving downforce of this car, and it's improved there to work at the front. There we go, purple there through the second sector, which is rather surprising because I thought Buemi and Alonso would have been faster, because they looked like they pulled away from us slightly, but I guess not. Now Buemi's just gaining in the slipstream now on the back. Fernando Alonso coming down this long back straight. Got to some very high speeds there with 200 miles an hour. Now coming down into the bus stop chicane. Has Buemi gone for an overtake? No, he's had to stick behind Fernando Alonso for the time being. We know Perez is up into P4, so Perez has got past Valtteri Bottas as well. So Bottas, once again, after the start of the race, is just starting to slowly drop back once again. Now coming into turn 1, Buemi isn't close enough to Fernando Alonso to try and make an overtake. No, not quite close enough. But this time, coming down the Calma straight, Buemi will have DRS now because it is the start of lap 3, and the detection point is only coming onto the start of the Calma straight. So he will get the benefit of DRS coming up along the Camel Straight this time. See, they're sticking right up behind Fernando Alonso there, down the up Eau Rouge. Now coming down the Camel Straight, can Buemi just make an easy move off Fernando Alonso, and once again can pull to the inside. Fernando Alonso just breezes past the Mercedes like it's not even there. We have to go defensive there to the inside. Alonso's going to try to hold it back around the outside, but Buemi just has that covered. Buemi likes defending to that inside line, as we saw from last season. And now Buemi moves up into the lead of the Grand Prix. Now we're running very wide there in P3. Now cutting onto the end of that lap, it's already time for our first pit stop because the super soft tyres only go about 3 laps of the Grand Prix. They really are just a throwaway tyre. As I said, most of the cars outside the top 10 won't even be using these tyres. They'll be making 1 stop, whereas we have to make a 2 stop because we started it on the super soft tyres. So everyone else in the midfield will start going on a set of softs and a set of mediums either way around and doing a 1 stop in the Grand Prix. So we're effectively a pit stop behind the midfield. But as you've seen in qualifying, this Williams just has so much pace that hopefully we can easily make up that difference and get back to a 1-2 position with me and Buemi. But first of all, we've got to clear Fernando Alonso. Looking a bit further in front of us now, we've got the 2 Toro Rossos behind the Haas, so behind one of the Saubers as well. So a great start there from whichever Sauber that is, getting right in the slipstream now on the back of one of the McLarens. Now we're in 14th, and we've got the 2 Saubers in front of the 2 Toro Rossos in front of us. Toro Rossos, yeah, they're decent in a straight line. I imagine they're running a low drag setup, much like everyone else in the midfield, especially with Force India bringing upgrades to allow them to run more downforce, so and put pressure on the midfield teams to bring upgrades throughout the rest of the season. Now cutting on to the end of that lap, imagine a lot more of the cars coming into pits. I see quite a few cars there in the pits. I saw a flash of yellow, so that was one of the Renaults in the pit lane. But now the question is, where is Fernando Alonso and Sebastian Buemi going to come out in relation to us? Because they had stayed out an extra lap, so me and Bottas came in at the previous lap. The question is, where is Alonso and Buemi? Can't see them. They're behind us. We've undercut Fernando Alonso, who has jumped Sebastian Buemi. So once again, the Williams pit crews just can't give us a good pit stop when it matters. And once again, Buemi now trying to overtake Fernando Alonso on track. Once again, at some point during this race, if we and Buemi want to get a 1-2 finish. Now cutting a bit onto lap 6, we go Purple through the second sector once again, running a bit wide into the corner where we crashed in practice. So gaining a position on the back of Carlos Sainz, looks to be gaining right on the back of the car in front, which I think might be his teammate Max Verstappen. We're seeing gaining loads there. We've got so much more downforce than that Toro Rosso. Can we make a move into the bus stop chicane? No, we think better of it, have to steer behind the Toro Rosso. The car in front is going very slowly into the braking zone, and it is his teammate Max Verstappen. Verstappen looks to be backing up Sainz at this point, so maybe Toro Rosso need to get a bit of team orders in there, because Sainz does look to be the faster driver at this stage in the Grand Prix. As now we've got Sebastian Buemi, who's now re-overtaken Fernando Alonso right behind us now, but we need to get past these Toro Rossos as quickly as possible, trying to put some cars between me and Buemi, because even Buemi's pace in the past few races has been completely electric. Of course, taking that win at Germany at the previous race. I think I can say that now because it's been long enough if you haven't seen that race already to click off and watch it. So yeah, Buemi winning the previous race, but only just on the final lap. And now we've got the two Toro Rossos going side by side now. Sainz looking up the inside now. Must definitely get boxed in there by the second of the Toro Rosso as we try to follow Sainz through. But we can't make anything of it now. Verstappen can try and hold it now around the outside, and we managed to defend brilliantly there from us. So Verstappen, this is the closest Verstappen's going to get to a home race. It's not that far away from the Netherlands. So I imagine this is what Verstappen would class as a home race as well. So now, coming up through these corners here with no name, we're getting round to the back now of Max Verstappen once again. As I said, we're pulling away from Williams, so there's something about those two corners that we just seem to find a load of time around, and that made the difference to us getting pole in qualifying over Sebastian Buemi. Because Buemi's still yet to take a pole position, and they've got 2 wins, but he's still yet to find that all-elusive pole position, despite this straight line speed of the Williams this season. We've got it a few times, so we're still looking for Buemi to find his. Now coming through the third sector once again, we have to step behind the Toro Rosso. The Toro Rosso, like I said, do have some decent straight line speed, but it looks like that is a lack of downforce. So going through this corner once again, we're getting very slowly because we just don't have the confidence to take it flat. Take an optimal line around that corner after a practice crash, and Buemi there looking up our inside, but we wasn't quite close enough to make anything of it. And actually that just compromises us, so now we lose a bit of time there. 2 Max Verstappen in front of us. Gus Verstappen and Sainz doing the one stop on set of soft tyres, then going to a set of mediums at their first stop, and we're going to a set of mediums which will be our second stop. So these 2 Toro Rossos and everyone in front of us are in front of us currently 4 positions. So as I said earlier, this could put a lot of the midfield cars in a very good position to try and take a very high result in the race. Once again, we're going defensive from Sebastian Buemi out the exit of turn 1. Once again, we just don't get the traction that we need. Now coming up at Rouge, we'll all single file through here. We've got Max Verstappen though, right up behind Carlos Sainz. So Verstappen, with DRS, should be able to make an easy move back into Carlos Sainz. We're going to look to go around the outside with his teammate Carlos Sainz, and we're going to look to the inside and make it 3 wide now, coming down the camera straight. We've got past one of the Toro Rosso, Carlos Sainz. They're going to get past Max Verstappen, but Verstappen is just a bit too far ahead of us, and we've managed to get past Carlos Sainz. The Sainz, in the space of 1 straight, has just lost 2 positions to ourselves and then his teammate Max Verstappen. Now Sainz has to worry about defending now from our teammate Sebastian Buemi and then Fernando Alonso in the Mercedes. So now we're up into P3, so we've got Verstappen there in second, and then it's like a red car in front, so one of the Ferraris is currently leading the Grand Prix, and I think that will be Lewis Hamilton, because Vettel started in the top 10 on set of super soft tyres with us. So Lewis Hamilton is currently leading the Grand Prix in that Ferrari, which we know has absolutely no straight line speed this season, pretty much like in 2014. Now cutting a bit further on, we've got Sainz right up behind the team of Sebastian Buemi, and Buemi's actually managed to get past Carlos Sainz there, so a great move there. Now Sebastian Buemi's already right on the back now of the second of the Toro Rossos, Max Verstappen, under braking, is getting loads on the brakes there. Now we're right up behind Max Verstappen, and Verstappen is actually gaining on Lewis Hamilton in that Ferrari, which as we know has no straight line speed, so a low drag Toro Rosso looks to be faster than whatever Ferrari have done with their setup. Now coming out of the turn 1 once again, we need to go defensive once again for Sebastian Buemi. We just don't get the traction out of turn 1. We're going to put Buemi right on the back of us now. Coming up at Rouge, but he has to stay behind us. Isn't quite close enough to make a move like he did on us on lap 1. But no, it's that Max Verstappen close enough to try and make a move on Lewis Hamilton. We're going to get Buemi getting right on the slipstream now, going side by side with the 2 cars in front. Verstappen's going to overtake Lewis Hamilton to take the lead of the Belgian Grand Prix from the Ferrari. So Verstappen is now legitimately leading the Grand Prix. Remember, this is 4th position because they're all doing 1 stop. They've still got, all of us still have 1 stop yet to make in this Grand Prix. So Max Verstappen is now legitimately leading this Grand Prix, and is already pulling away there from Lewis Hamilton. So has Hamilton got an issue with that Ferrari? We've seen how easily Verstappen caught and overtook the 2008 World Champion, so Hamilton must have some kind of issue in that Ferrari to be going this slowly, and letting a Toro Rosso pull away from him. And once again, coming through Pooh, I'm getting right behind Lewis Hamilton, but coming through this section of track, there's just nothing we can do to make a move on Lewis Hamilton. Now try and make a move on the inside, try and put him off the full of his mirrors. We're just a bit too far behind. He's coming through this section. We've got so much more downforce on that Ferrari. And Hamilton runs out wide there. We have to get on the brake there. We have to brake check ourselves. That's not hit. Has to not hit into the back of Lewis Hamilton. Now coming through this sector, there's absolutely nothing we can do to get past this Ferrari, and just have to gain absolutely now on the back of Lewis Hamilton, try and make a move coming into the bus stop chicane. Again, right in the back of it now, we're going to make a move to the inside of Lewis Hamilton, even before it gets to bus stop. We're going to breeze right around the inside there of Lewis Hamilton. Now Hamilton's already falling away from us in just pure trail speed, but wait till look around the outside where he just gets Hamilton there defends well, and cuts off Sebastian Buemi. So Buemi has to stick behind Lewis Hamilton for a bit longer, and this is exactly what we need. Try and build a gap to Sebastian Buemi, why he's caught up behind the Ferrari of Lewis Hamilton, who's just going backwards, much like Bottas, just at a lesser rate. Also, Bottas starting in the top 10 on super soft tyres as well, so it's really not working out for him. And we can't even see him now behind Fernando Alonso. Now Buemi's going to look to the inside now of Lewis Hamilton up the upper rouge. He goes right around the outside of Lewis Hamilton, upper rouge. A great move there from Sebastian Buemi, and that's really killed Hamilton's momentum. They're going to come under attack now from the second of the Toro Rosso. There's Fernando Alonso as well. And there goes Sainz up the outside, and there goes Fernando Alonso as well. So Hamilton just got out-dragged by the other Toro Rosso and Fernando Alonso down the straight. Pretty much showing that Ferrari the Ferrari is still yet to bring any upgrades for their cars this season. I think that pretty much just confirms to me that they have written off this season and just focused on next season at this point in the season, because Vettel, of course, taking that one win at Austria by pure luck, being on the right tyres before the rain came out, and just defending from Sebastian Buemi. We're seeing that Ferrari just really legitimately don't have the pace to win a race. You saw there on the damage indicator, we do have a bit of front wing damage there on the right side. I don't know what that was from, because I don't think we've hit anyone or anything, so I don't know what that's from. Maybe just a bit of it fell off with it and ran over a bit of a debris or over a curb too violently, and maybe it shook a bit of a front wing off. So hopefully that front wing damage didn't affect us too badly. Once again, coming through this little right-hander there is getting a world of understeer. Now Buemi's going to look to our inside now. We're getting it up the inside now, going side by side. We're seeing Sebastian Buemi's wheel-to-wheel contact at 200 miles an hour, but he's going to try and hold it out over the other side. We have to break early. They give Buemi the position because there's no way we're going to get too wide around there. Now coming on the bus stop chicane, we'll try and dive it back up inside Sebastian Buemi. Buemi just outbraces there, defends well to the inside. Now as Verstappen comes into the pits now for what it will be his one and only pit stop, he's going to try and undercut me and Buemi. So me and Buemi staying out for another lap. Now we're getting in the DRS now on the back of Sebastian Buemi coming into turn 1, but nowhere near close to try and make a move on him though. Fernando Alonso there, you can see, has got past Lewis Hamilton, so I don't know if Hamilton's pit as well. I didn't quite see if he's pit or not. Can't see him there behind us, so I think Lewis Hamilton has come into the pits as well. Now seeing there, Sebastian Buemi's already pulling away from us now. After only turn 1, we're seeing Buemi's pace. Buemi's race pace is just phenomenal compared to ours in these past few races. Really catching a load of points on it. So he's beat us in the past 5 races, I think, on race results. Now coming down the camera straight, even though we've got DRS, we just can't catch Sebastian Buemi. He's just too far in front. Come the end of the camera straight, now Buemi, we're just going to try and pull away from us. Now cutting onto the end of that lap, we're now coming in for our final pit stop to go into safe medium. So once again, they're going to have the undercut on our teammate Sebastian Buemi. But Buemi's pace is just so good, I don't think it might actually make a difference or not. So we're going on to a set there of medium tyres. Thankfully the Toro Rosso goes past, we don't get held up. We don't get held up for that Red Bull coming in behind either. But like the Toro Rosso, haven't got the best results. He may have gained a bit of time there on the back of the Toro Rosso, so it doesn't look like they're as close to us. As we exit the pit lane, is going to be anyone near us? I think we're going to clear the cars behind, are we? No, here goes one of the Toro Rossos. They're going to drive right around the outside. We've got one of the Toro Rossos now right up behind us. They're going to pull 2 our inside. I think this is Max Verstappen going side by side up Eau Rouge. Verstappen's going to drive right around our outside. Great move there from the young Dutchman. And that's really how to have momentum there. Now we've got Carlos Sainz in the second of the Toro Rosso trying to make a move up our inside as well. Now going side by side with the Spaniard coming down the camera straight. Now we can try and hold it now around the outside. Sainz has the inside line, but now that tends to be the inside line for us. We force Sainz out wide, and we just managed to keep it there in front of Carlos Sainz, who's got the 2 Renaults for company right up behind as well. So now once again we need to try and chase down Max Verstappen, try and make an overtake on the Dutchman. Now Verstappen being very opportunistic, which pretty much you have to be in the Toro Rosso, much like we were when we were in the Lotus. You just got to make these do or die moves, and he just makes them work. So if that's one way to send an offer to Red Bull that you need to be as a bigger team next season. That's pretty much one way to do it, overtaking a Williams, the fastest car in this season so far, round the outside of Eau Rouge in a Toro Rosso which has much less downforce. That's one way to advertise yourself for a bigger team next season. Now coming through the second set, now it's advantage Williams and advantage to us once again. A tech going around that corner where we just don't take no speed because we just haven't got the confidence around there. But now Sebastian Buemi is coming into the pits now for his final stop of the race. I imagine that Buemi is going on to a set of medium tyres to take him to the end of the Grand Prix. So going on there, he's going to say medium tyres, but now he's been held. He's been held for, I think, one of the Red Bulls to come in, so that could be crucial. That extra half a second there could mean the difference between Buemi coming out in front of us or coming out behind us when he exits the pit lane, which he is going to now. Now coming round turn 1, which is still the pit lane, so coming around the inside of turn 1, there we go, we've managed to jump Buemi there, so that hold up was crucial. Then there goes one of the Taurus who's going to go side by side now with Sebastian Buemi. Coming to the region side, has managed to clear Buemi, so not as glamorous overtake there for Carlos Sainz, but still overtaking a Williams. Pretty much the Toro Rosso doing the exact same thing. So they're going side by side now, 2 by 2 with Buemi and Sainz. That's Buemi's going to try and power right around the outside of Carlos Sainz coming up at the end of the camera straight. Sainz is going to try and hold it right at the inside, which now tends to the outside. I think Buemi has made the overtake there on Carlos Sainz. We've made the overtake on Max Verstappen. So me and Buemi synchronising our overtakes there on both of the Toro Rossos. Now cutting onto lap 14, you've got Fernando Alonso who's managed to overcut us and has come out there on a set of soft tyres. So Alonso staying out the extra lap, actually got another set of soft tyres to take him to the end of the Grand Prix. So Alonso with a good tyre advantage, but now we're right up behind the 2-time world champion. I'm going to breeze right past the outside of Fernando Alonso coming down the camera straight, now going up into the chicane. We've easily passed Fernando Alonso, now we move back into the lead of the Grand Prix, and that's crucial there because Alonso on soft tyres is going to be hounding us now till the end of the Grand Prix. You've got one of the Toro Rossos there still hanging on in third, which I think is Max Verstappen. So great move there from Max Verstappen. Now looking a bit further on though, got Fernando Alonso right behind him with Sebastian Buemi now in third, managed to get past the Toro Rosso off Max Verstappen. Now coming up into the bus stop chicane, Fernando Alonso has to defend now from Sebastian Buemi in the Williams team. Alonso may have the tyre advantage, but it's advantage Williams everywhere else, downforce and especially in straight line speed. Now coming down into turn 1, is Buemi close enough to try and make a move? No, because Alonso still has DRS off the back of us to keep him in P2 for the time being, and once again we don't get a good exit turn 1. Now Fernando Alonso is going to look to the inside of us now. They're going to go side by side now, coming up into our bridge. We've got the outside line, Fernando Alonso on the inside, and Alonso trying to hold it on the inside. We just have to back out of it there because we didn't leave Alonso in the room. Good job there that he saw us coming there. Of course Alonso's been racing since 2001, so he knew to back out of that move now. But he's going to try and power right around the outside now. Fernando Alonso coming down the camera straight and makes the move now. The Toro Rosso of Max Verstappen trying to have a look as well. Very artistic there from Max Verstappen once again. But now, finally, it's a Williams 1-2 once again. Now Sebastian Buemi is right up behind us. I imagine he's going to try and make an overtake on us pretty soon, because you've seen his pace is just phenomenal. We've just got no answer to Buemi's pace in the past few races. Now cutting a bit further on, Buemi gets a poor exit there at the final corner, gives Alonso a chance to up the inside. Alonso right up Buemi's gearbox there. Now coming around turn 1 once again, all line and stern. Now got Buemi once again gaining in the slipstream out of turn 1, it's getting a good traction over us once again. But coming up a Rouge, Buemi's just too far behind to try and make a move on us. He's still behind us now once again, wait for DRS up the camel straight. Once again, now he's going to have DRS on the back of us now. Now Buemi opening DRS, going to look to give him first go around the outside of us now. Coming down the camel straight, Buemi's going to try and hold it now right around the outside of us now, coming up into the chicane. At the end of the camel straight, Buemi's going to try and hold it around the outside now. There's a bit of contact there between me and Buemi, try to hold it around the outside. Now Buemi moves up into the lead of the Belgian Grand Prix. Now we're right up behind our teammate Sebastian Buemi once again. Now coming up into these corners with no name, going to run out very wide there, very late in the braking, but now we're going to hold it right around the outside of Sebastian Buemi. Now we're showing 10 to the inside around the corner with no name, keeping it side by side with our teammate Sebastian Buemi. Buemi runs out wide, and now we move back into the lead of the Belgian Grand Prix with only a handful of laps left to go. And we've got Fernando Alonso right up Buemi's gearbox there in third, with Max Verstappen waiting just behind in fourth in case anything happens to take us a test of snatch, a surprise podium for Toro Rosso. You know, we're on lap 17 of 20, so we've still got 5 laps of this race left to go, and 5 laps is a very long way around this Spa track. Now once again, coming through this third sector, there's nothing that Buemi can do to make an overtake on us, and now coming up through here, once again, through this long fast right-hander. We just don't get the speed and carry the speed that we want. So now Buemi's going to look to go around our outside now. Coming up down the camera straight, and it's going to go sideways now down this long back straight. Buemi's going to try to hold it around the outside. We just cut across his nose there. Get back in front now. We run out wide though through this, and that's going to give Buemi an opportunity to go right around our outside. Now we have to defend to the inside now. Coming up into the bus stop chicane. Buemi's going to try and hold it around the outside, but Buemi runs out wide. Drops back down into second, cuts off there just in front of Fernando Alonso. He has a really poor exit. Now that's given us a little bit of breathing space for the time being, but with Buemi's pace, that's not going to last. And we've got 2 Torossos going up behind. We've got the 2 Red Bulls getting on the back of this queue as well now. So now it's a 4, 5, 6, 7-way train, 7-way fight for the lead of the Grand Prix. That means Buemi are now holding up, fighting for the lead. Now coming up a reach once again, Buemi just have to wait for DRS once again to try and make another move on us. Now going to get DRS once again. This time Buemi forces his way over to the inside of us now. We're going to try and hold it now around the outside. Our team is passing Buemi just makes a move there right up to the inside of us. Now coming up and breaking for the chicane. He's going to be in front there. We're going to try and hold it now around the outside. We have turn to the inside for Sebastian Buemi now. And then once now, this time to the inside once again for Sebastian Buemi. We're going to keep it side by side now, coming up into the corners with no name. We're going to try and hold it once again around the outside of Sebastian Buemi, where we found the good traction last lap. And once again, we managed to hold it right around the outside of our teammate Sebastian Buemi. And once again, Buemi has to settle back down into P2, just ahead of Fernando Alonso in P3, and then the 2 Toro Rossos in 4th and 5th. Once again, Buemi through this sector just has to stick behind us now. Of course, the more we battle, the more this is going to back up the 2 Toro Rossos and the 2 Red Bulls behind. Because you know the Red Bulls don't have the straight line speed of the Mercedes or the Toro Rossos. Imagine they'd be running a lower drag setup as well, try and get the best of what they can. Because now we're coming into the part of the season where you need straight line speed. Because we've got here, then we've got Italy and Monza the next time out, Germany the previous race, coming into the part of the season where you need good straight line speed. And that's just what the Red Bull doesn't have. Now once again, Buemi's going to look to go to our inside now. Or the inside, Sebastian Buemi's going to try to force his way into the inside. Wheel-to-wheel contact at 200 miles an hour to me and Buemi. We're coming inside. We're going to run the outside. We run hideously wide off the track. And we're getting a legal overtake there on Sebastian Buemi, so I have to let Buemi back past. Try hard no the inside. Buemi runs out wide there. Through the bus stop chicane, so we can't maybe back past him there. So we have to go slow now to the inside. Give Sebastian Buemi the position. Now Buemi now moves over to the lead of the Grand Prix. There's only 3 laps left to go on lap 19 of 22, so we need a good run up through here. We should try and get once again back ahead of Sebastian Buemi. You see there on the traction, Buemi's just pulling away from us. Now we've got to worry about defending for Fernando Alonso more than attacking Sebastian Buemi. But Buemi's just already pulling away into the distance, much like he did last time he overtook us before our final pit stop on. So behind. And then we're gaining on the back of Sebastian Buemi. Now can move to the inside, but I don't think we're close enough. And Buemi just cuts off our nose there to the inside. And Buemi now into the lead of the Grand Prix. And the 2 Toro Rossos have both got past Fernando Alonso. Great tag teaming there from both of the Toro Rossos to get in front of Fernando Alonso. Now cutting all the way onto the final lap. Unfortunately, after Buemi got past us, he just pretty much drove off into the distance. Maybe that front wing damage did start affecting us in the end. Then we've got Daniel Kvyat there, who's managed to get up into P3, so great final stint there for Daniel Kvyat to get past both the Toro Rossos and Fernando Alonso as well. So I don't know what's happened to Fernando Alonso in the final few laps. Really dropped off the pace. But now Sebastian Buemi is going to come up to the line, and Buemi is going to win the Belgian Grand Prix, take his 2nd Grand Prix victory in a row. And we have to settle for 2nd in the end, quite some way behind in the end. And Daniel Kvyat for Red Bull rounds off the podium in 3rd. So the Williams boss is looking very happy with that one. To imagine they didn't enjoy the battle between me and Buemi as much as me and Buemi did, of course, because the team bosses really don't want to make contact with your teammate. I imagine as a team boss you always fear the worst, but still it was a great battle there between me and Buemi is honestly the more deserving race winner. Taking a look at the race results, Sebastian Buemi would take victory, 3.5 seconds clear from ourselves in 2nd, and Daniel Kvyat will round off the podium in 3rd for Red Bull. His teammate Jean-Eric Vergne will come home in 4th in the 2nd of the Red Bulls, with Max Verstappen in 5th for Toro Rosso. Sergio Perez, with an impressive showing, would hang on to his P6 position, with Carlos Sainz dropping down to 7th. Sebastian Vettel would only manage P8, Fernando Alonso dropping down to 9th, so Alonso must have had some kind of car issue to drop from 3rd to 9th. And 17 seconds off of the lead in only 2, 3, 4 laps. Lewis Hamilton would climb his way up into 10th in the 2nd of the Ferraris, with Romain Grosjean in 11th for Haas, and Valtteri Bottas rounding off the point scorers in 12th for Mercedes. Moving on to the driver standings, and now we only have a 7-point lead over our teammate Sebastian Buemi. Daniel Kvyat now getting back up into third, 33 points off the championship lead. His teammate Jean-Luc Vaughan only 4 points behind in fourth on 110 points. Fernando Alonso drops back down to fifth on 107. Lewis Hamilton remains in sixth on 82 points, only 3 points clear of his teammate and defending world champion Sebastian Vettel. Valtteri Bottas remains in 8th on 61 points, with Haryanto in 9th on 53. Max Verstappen now jumps up into P10 on 32 points, joint with his teammate Carlos Sainz, but by virtue of better result, Max Verstappen is in 10th with Sainz in 11th, and Romain Grosjean drops down to 12th for Haas on 30 points. Now in the constructors standings, Williams now have a 63-point lead over Red Bull, who are in second, with Mercedes in third, only 7 points clear of Ferrari. McLaren are in fifth on 79 points, 15 points clear of Toro Rosso, who are in a complete award of their own, ahead of Haas, who are in seventh. And now Force India are only 1 point behind Haas, thanks to Perez's 6th place result here in the race today. Renault are in 9th on half the points of Force India on 22, with Manor in 10th on 7, and Sauber in 11th on 3. Now, my driver of the day for this race? Honestly, no one really stands out that much. Probably, I'd have to say, probably Sergio Perez. Getting that 6th place result, still Ocon completely dropping out the points. Perez managing to get P6, so yeah, I'd say Perez would be my driver of the day. So that's been the Belgian Grand Prix. Thanks for watching. Remember to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new, and vote with the poll link that will be in the video description for your driver of the day as well. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time.